you had to start, supporting remote work, and productivity apps took off really, really fast. We saw some, things like names like DocuSign just immediately shoot up to the top, and I think that's going to stay.
Correct.
We also saw names like Zoom become ubiquitous throughout the world, but we're a little bit less certain that that's going to stay longer term. Because they offer it for free for 40 minutes. You don't need to have a license to participate. You only need 1 or 2 people to actually have licenses. And Microsoft Teams, of course, is doing such a great job. But we could just take a look quickly at this. The dominance in productivity right now is Microsoft, but all these other names, they're a little less certain. We're seeing decelerating spend here. Citrix had a nice pop when the COVID first hit, but I think it's starting to fall into that legacy bucket now. So when we take a look at some of these names that helped you, do remote work productivity, maybe you could kind of give us your thoughts on who's going to last and who might have been a short-term impact.
Yeah, so let me tell you, you're talking to a guy who is bullish when it comes to remote work. The WeWork CEO said something recently that motivated employees want to come back to the office, and that's a sign of motivation. I couldn't disagree more. I've seen a 27% increase in productivity in the workplace, but with a matched level of burnout because people in the home are always working as opposed to lunch and water breaks, et cetera, and time of socializing and gossip. So I genuinely feel that all of them will eventually, there will be no more peak in any of these than there is now, right? We had to go Twilio for texting. We had to go DocuSign because you're not in an office place anymore to sign documents. So those workflows have been built. They are occurring. There may be some fall off. If you ask me, there won't be in my organization, and many shouldn't, unless you somehow work in a workplace where you sent people home that they're less productive, and we're still doing it only out of fear of, folks getting sick in the workplace. So I'm a huge, again, standardized. I use Teams all day, every day. We've rationalized a lot of our other collaboration platforms, and in fact, all of them, Cisco, Jabber, WebEx, in lieu of Teams. I'm now looking at using, and others are like, and I think there's growth still in the Teams and Zoom of the world where I can take telephony to that. I find myself using the phone button in Teams more than using the phone on my desk. So I think there's a potential for them to grow in how they do, how they could replace the Ciscos and Avayas of the world. Why do I need and God forbid you still have a POTS or a PBX, but and if you haven't made that leap,
some people still do.
And when I was at Walter Reed, we had one that covered 7 states. So I mean, it was almost $1 billion replacement if we had to do it. But if I was going to do it now, guess what? Maybe I don't do VoIP, which maybe I'd do this, right? And use one of my collaboration platforms is now our telephony product. Vonage 8x8 or Packet 8 or whatever they're called these days, are getting some penetration there and finding some niche solutions. The other thing is, this won't be the last pandemic, right? And so how do you scale again? How do you have those plans ready? And a lot of these providers are creating some really agile solutions that allow you to do that with almost no additional effort, right? So I think there's some potential there. I love seeing, DocuSign hit us like a ton of bricks, and now that's, again, another of these silver linings of this pandemic is we don't route paper anymore, right? Which I love. God forbid something's sitting in my inbox that needs my signature for more than a day. But, so I think there's still, I think those have peaked and people have figured out the return to work will be real for a lot of people. I'm hearing a lot of folks who are, not going to operate at the rate in which they are today in remote work, meaning that they're bringing some people to work, if not going back to normal. Naturally, those things will wane. People may think it's easier to sign things with ink and paper. I hope not. It won't be happening here. But anyway, I think you're going to see a dip in all of these. But I do see some upside as people have realized the potential of leveraging some of these platforms for things broader than what they are using them for. And then if there are still some pockets of folks not leveraging some of them, that they'll grow.